Now let's talk about the most important thing on all turf grasses, and that's watering. And this is for Zoysia turf grass. But before we do, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I appreciate the support, and email me at turforganics904@gmail.com. I do online consultations and DIY lawn kits. Email me for more information. Let's get right into this video. Now, Zoysia grass responds to drought by turning brown and going dormant. Usually within a week of typical drought conditions. It will go almost totally brown and look dead. And that's it going into its dormant, dry state. Now, it will stay brown until it gets water again. And this brown looking Zoysia is a good sign that you need to do irrigation. If it stays like this too long, you will get drought damage that you'll have to either resod or put down soil and replace and get that to fill back in. But once you get water, even if it starts to turn a little bit brown, that's okay. And once you water, it will green back up. If your lawn's going brown for more than 3 to 5 days, damage could occur. Now, of course, what you should water is as needed basis. That's the best for all, but that's so vague and hard to determine. When it goes brown and the leaf blades start to wilt and it's this blue grayish color, and if you walk on the lawn, the footprints remain, that means it's dry and that means you need to water. Now, from my experience, of course, this throws in a lot of factors: shade to full sun, clay, sandier soils, things like that. That's why it's important to know what this drought looks like. So if it gets to dry up and you need to water more or less, you can know by knowing the signs of when your lawn needs that water, or you can see certain parts of your lawn need it more than others. But on average, I tell people with Zoysia in sandy soil in full sun needs 4 to 5 days of water a week, and that's temperatures 90 and above. And I know that sounds excessive, and it is, but those thinner leaf blades on the Zoysia makes it dry out a lot quicker. Now, ideally, when you're in somewhere like Florida, we get 2 to 3 rain days a week, but sometimes it can rain 5 days a week and sometimes it can rain none. So when you're in that full sun and it's sandier soil, you're needing 4 to 5 days a week of water on that Zoysia. That's going to be very important, and I've seen it here. We're recently been in a drought in Florida, and my customers watering that 4 to 5 days, their Zoysia lawns look amazing, and the people not watering, the Zoysia lawns are extremely struggling, and it's a night and day difference, and they're getting all the same fertilization, treatment, and care, just the watering cycle is different, and the results are incredibly different. Now, as we get into spring and fall is that good to 2 to 3 days a week, again, depending. That's in your 70 to 80 degree temperature range in your full sun areas. And then winter is just 1 day a week. Make sure you're still watering throughout the winter. Just 1 day a week is all it needed. Even though the whole lawn's brown, it's just dormant. But those roots and that grass still need some water. It'll help it bounce back in the springtime. Now, shadier areas, things like that, I'd say on average, a shadier area needs 1 to 2 days a week less of water. And now that's hard if it's on a zone with full sun. You would rather overwater the shady areas than underwater the full sun. But if you have a whole shady backyard with a full sun front yard, you're gonna be watering that front yard 1 to 2 days a week more than you're gonna be watering your shady backyard. So that's a good way to determine. And again, if you have a clay-like soil that's holding moisture, probably about the same. 1 to 2 days a week less of water compared to your sandier, drier soils. So it's so hard because I don't know exactly your conditions, but this is a really good rough guideline about where you need to be at. But the most important is knowing what that blue-gray, wilting, brown color looks like that is drought. Now, watering for how long? That's another really, really important thing. And applying 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of water per application gets roughly about the top 8 inches of soils where most of the roots are. And from my experience, that's anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes per lawn zone. It's a long range because everyone's irrigation system is different. So I don't know, spray heads to rotor heads to some people get poor coverage, some people get good coverage. I found the good 40 to 45 minutes is a great coverage. You can set out little cans in time how long it takes to get 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, and that's being precise, and that way you know exactly how long. But I tell people usually anywhere under 30 minutes is a waste, and anything over 50 is usually a waste, and that's gonna be about 90% of you. Some people are gonna have weird irrigation systems, and for that, I recommend setting out and getting those measurements, but around that 40-45 minute start is a great place to be at. Unless you have areas holding water. I will say in a lot of these new constructions, the houses are very close together. I've seen a lot of people get away with 15-20 minutes there because you and your neighbor's irrigation overlaps and the drainage is poor. So if you have that type of situation, 15-20 minutes, I totally understand. But most of the time, especially full sun areas, 30-50 minutes is gonna be that sweet spot for that time zone. And those times won't change through summer, spring, or fall and winter. You're gonna be, once you find a good deep watering cycle, you keep that. You just change the days. Need less water, take away a day. Need more water, add a day. But don't go from watering 45 minutes in the summer to watering 20 minutes in the winter. Long, deep waterings is always the way. Just adjust the days and keep those long watering times. And that's watering Zoysia. I know, of course, watering all grass is very important, but Zoysia does not do well in the heat, and I keep hearing it's drought tolerant, and it is not. Zoysia can be planted a little more up north than most of our warm season turf grasses that we're used to in Florida and Texas. So to them, it's drought tolerant, and I think that's where they're getting it from, is if you Google it, it says drought tolerant. When you buy it, they say drought tolerant. I've been dealing with Zoysia for 10 years, ever since it's been out. It is not drought tolerant. Now, I will say it can go completely brown, and as long as you get water on it within a day or two, it will bounce back, which is impressive, but it needs, on average, 1 to 2 days a week more water than St. Augustine or Bermuda or centipede grass. Bahia is actually a drought-tolerant grass, so that needs a lot less water than most of those, but Zoysia is not drought-tolerant. And that's it. If you have any questions below about that, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll happily answer them. Everyone have a great rest of your day.